What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Spring break has come and gone for many Carolina families, and for my week-long expedition in late April, I took one for the Low and Slow Barbecue Show team and explored a few familiar and unfamiliar barbecue stops out in this great big old world. I also discovered an often overlooked tourist destination that's guaranteed to rev your motors. So today's episode is unofficially sponsored by the letter B, as we're talking about my spring break barbecue tour in Bama, the Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum in Birmingham, and a breakfast stop you don't want to miss. Before we start talking about Byron's Barbecue, Rusty's, Miss Myra's Hooks, and a big bad breakfast, here's an invitation to visit our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. You'll find our podcast episodes with pitmasters and smoke tenders across the Carolinas and beyond. You'll also find the Low and Slow blog and a sign up for our newsletter, The Lowdown. You get a Lowdown subscription today for free. We'll send the latest Carolina barbecue news to your inbox on Tuesday mornings. And don't forget, we're on Instagram too. Visit us there at Low and Slow Barbecue Show and see pictures and videos from the spring break barbecue tour stops that we'll be talking about today. This year, that tour took me into the deep South and my own home state of Alabama. I was born in Birmingham and spent the first half of my life there before coming to North Carolina and coming to my senses at the same time. Don't know that I'll ever leave again. No reason to. But in addition to my growing up in Alabama, there's a family farm there in LA. That's Lower Alabama. And it's been like a magnetic pull for me every spring and summer for most of my life. This year was no different. So I packed my two kids in the van and made the 500-mile drive. On the way, we stopped in Auburn, the loveliest village on the plains, according to some. And while we were there, we visited one of Alabama's 4 Buc-ee's locations. Or is it Buc-ee's? I don't know. Buc-ee's, Buc-ee's, it's all the same. And of course, the Buc-ee's is exactly what you'd expect from a Buc-ee's anywhere you stop for Buc-ee's. If you've been to one, chances are you've been to them all. And while Buc-ee's gets a lot of credit for barbecue sandwiches, there's no way I'm eating that when there's a local option available. That local option in Auburn, Alabama is Byron's Smokehouse. Byron's has been serving the orange and blue faithful since 1989, and it's especially popular at breakfast time. Now, some of y'all may know I support the Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, but I'm not going to let a bunch of Auburn paraphernalia keep me out of a popular barbecue spot. So we drove through Toomer's Corner, past Jordan-Hare Stadium and Sanford Hall, very pretty campus there at Auburn, and we made a midday Saturday stop at Byron's Smokehouse. It's actually an old Dairy Queen with a brick fireplace built onto the rear. And I've been told that Byron's is a favorite for ESPN's Todd Blackledge, as well as U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville. You know, he's a former coach of the Auburn Tigers football team. And again, that didn't slow me down, and it didn't taint an otherwise good barbecue meal. So the meal, my order was a rib plate with baked beans, cream corn, and of course, we're in Alabama, so you got to get the Red Diamond sweet tea. If you know, you know. The kids, they got chicken tenders, and you'll notice this became a common theme for our trip. Now, talking about the ribs, they were meaty and tender. I got 4 of them in a plate, and they had a great smoky flavor. The meat easily pulled off the bone without being mush. And the baked beans were good, too, and a good bit of meat mixed in, not too sweet. The cream corn was solid and creamy, good flavor. Now, Byron's offers 2 what I think are mustard-based sauces. It's a dark mustard. They're hot and mild, and both of the sauces are okay, but I'll tell you, the meat really didn't need it. Those ribs were really cooked to perfection, had a great flavor on them. And I did try the sauces because you got to. Why not? I'll say the hot is not too hot, and both of the sauces have a unique pepper flavor. I couldn't really pin down, not really like anything else I've ever tried. I didn't eat too many of the boys' tenders, but I will tell you I had a bite or two, and they were good. Byron's Smokehouse is at 436 Opelika Road in Auburn, just a little ways off campus. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. Breakfast is served 6 a.m. until 11 daily and 7 until noon on Sunday. Lunch is 11 to 2 Tuesday through Saturday. There's no lunch service on Sunday. And since I visited and posted some pictures up on Instagram, I got a lot of great response from the folks at Byron's as well as a lot of other fans. They tell me I need to come back and hit the breakfast. Maybe I'll do that next time. If you want to learn more about them, visit byronsmokehouse.com. You can also find them on Instagram. It's Byrons with an S _smokehouse. So that's our stop in Auburn. And after that, we got back on the road and took it to LA for a few days of fishing, armadillo hunting, and just enjoying the slow life on the farm. And I will tell you that things used to be much more busy. And as my family's aged, most of our time's now spent not working, but riding four-wheelers, checking on cows, and just generally relaxing. I'm certainly glad the birds are gone from the two big chicken houses. That was a lot of work as a kid, and I kind of wish my own kids had a chance to experience that. It really makes something out of you being in a few thousand chickens and picking up eggs and all the stuff that goes with chicken houses. Not always pleasant. It's character building, they say. At any rate, one of the popular stops for barbecue in Lower Alabama is Hook's Barbecue. It was a regular lunch break meal for us during those hardworking days of spring and summer in my youth. And from what I understand from my Lower Alabama family stories, Don Stone started Hook's Barbecue in Opp. He worked there many years there, serving pork, chicken, beans, dirty rice, all the usual sides with a couple of unique hot and mild sauces. Eventually, as folks tend to do as they get older, Don sold the restaurant and decided to get out of the business. At the same time, he sold the sauce recipe too. That all went to a couple of guys living around Covington County, where both Opp and Andalusia are located. Those two guys expanded the operation into Andalusia and Enterprise and Troy. And as the story goes, the original owner's agreement specified that the new operators could run the business as they saw fit, but they could not sell the sauce recipe. Well, again, eventually those entrepreneurs sold their stake in the restaurants, but not the sauce. And the restaurants have since been operated by a few different owners. Some of the Hook's locations are connected, like the ones Adam and Ken Renfro own in Enterprise and Troy. Others are owned by individuals, but they still carry the Hook's name. And the Hook's location I visited in Andalusia on the bypass, I was closest to our accommodations, and my previous history was always with the Opp location. That's been 20 years ago, again, back when Don Stone was running the place. Always really enjoyed the barbecue from the Opp Hook's Barbecue. Unfortunately, don't know that I'll go back to the Andalusia location. I'll tell you a little bit why. The order, we got a chicken sandwich with a side of dirty rice. And the guy at the counter talked me into getting the plate so I could get a double helping of the dirty rice. That's what I wanted anyway, to go along with the chicken sandwich. So I went along with it, the same price, so I just got twice the rice at the same price. And I've always loved Hook's dirty rice. And I realize there's not really any secret to creating good dirty rice. Hook's has always been good with meat mixed in, and it's got a good chicken broth flavor on the rice. Andalusia dirty rice is solid. I'll give them that. My chicken sandwich, on the other hand, it was just okay. I ordered the meal around supper time. The chicken was not hot. I got it with sauce, and now they have, again, it's not Don Stone sauce, but they've got a hot and mild sauce. And I always remember the hot barbecue sauce had a bit of a kick, but it wasn't overwhelming. I don't know whether I've gotten old or the new sauce recipe is different, but the hot was really hot. And I know, if you order sauce that's hot, expect to get sauce that's hot. This was too hot. I mean, spicy, not flame hot, but spicy hot. Unlike the chicken, which was cold, flame cold, ice cold. I used the hot sauce sparingly. It was okay. Again, the experience was for the Hooks in Andalusia. From what I hear, other folks around Andalusia have told me that the place just isn't the same as it once was, and it certainly wasn't what it's like in Opp. Now, I hear a lot of good things about the Hooks in Troy and Enterprise. Our friends over at the Alabama Barbecue Chase, they included as one of their top stops in the state, and more about the Alabama Barbecue Chase in just a couple minutes. I would skip Hooks if you're in Andalusia. If you are in Andalusia, you might want to check out the Crow's Nest. It's been about 20 years since I've been there too, but once upon a time it was good. I hear it's still pretty serviceable for barbecue. It's at the other end of the bypass from Hooks. Maybe check out the Crow's Nest. Moving on, after a few days on the farm and a side trip for a day at the beach in Destin. Hold on. Speaking of side trips, let me just tell you this. If you go to Destin, Florida, you're going to have a hard time finding a public beach that's not been cordoned off and left empty by private resorts and exclusive hotels that prohibit us. And all the mouth breeders and all the day trippers weren't able to visit their pristine beaches. Instead, they crammed us into about 50 yards of public beach. and it was enjoyable enough, but it's really not the same. You could walk down the beach, you just couldn't set up camp in their private spaces. So forget Destin. Unless you want to go-karting. So I'll give Destin some credit. They've got a multi-level spiraling goat kart that goes up in the air and back down again. It was really a lot of fun. So back from our Destin side trip, after the beach excursion, we went from the country to the big city in Birmingham. First stop, a place that's been around forever in Cahaba Heights, a community on the suburban outskirts of Birmingham. It's called Miss Mara's. It opened in 1984. It's been serving wood-smoked barbecue and homemade desserts ever since. As a child, I lived about 5 miles from Miss Mara's in the Rocky Ridge neighborhood, but spring break was the first time I ever remember visiting this barbecue joint in Cahaba Heights. A business is operated by Myra Grissom and her family, and they do a lot of good things in the community, are great contributors. They raise funds. They support a lot of charities. Really good family and a really good local family-owned business. They've got a signature white sauce. It's been featured in a lot of press around the state and nation, including Food Network's Andrew Zimmern. Andrew is apparently a big fan of the white sauce and the chicken, so that's kind of what I had on my mind when I got there. So we pull into Miss Mara's mid-afternoon, and man, it was pouring down rain. I didn't have a chance to get any good video outside or really a lot of photos because, I mean, it was just dumping. But so we go inside. It's the casual couple of dining rooms. They've got counter service. The first thing you'll notice, though, is all the pigs. There's hundreds of them all over the building. Big ones, small ones. They've got them in a jewelry display at the counter. And then over on the side, there's even a wall of them in the extra dining room. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection of pigs, all 4 of them. Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, and whatever the other one was. I don't remember. But of course, like most barbecue restaurants in Alabama, there's a ton of sports memorabilia for Alabama and Auburn. And there's a special note there, unless you're visiting Byron Smokehouse in Auburn or Dreamland in Tuscaloosa or Archibald's in Tuscaloosa, you'll notice most Alabama barbecue places try to keep it fairly balanced between the big two, and an occasional minor, very minor nod to UAB. You'll see UAB at Dreamland and Southside, but they give it a little bit of credit. So back to Miss Mara's in the order. I got the smoked chicken quarter, baked beans, and deviled eggs. The kids, surprise, surprise, chicken fingers. The smoked chicken had a really strong smoked taste. I won't say it was too much, but it was certainly pronounced. And the Miss Mara's signature white sauce was a great combination to that smoke. It kind of reined it in, tempered it out a little bit, was a really nice compliment to the chicken. They also have an Alabama red sauce, and I say Alabama red sauce because it's a whole lot like some of the red sauce you'll find in a lot of places around Alabama. A little bit of a spicy kick, not super thick, but also not really heavy vinegar, just a good barbecue sauce. It's not too sugary and thick like molasses like they do over in Kansas City. Good barbecue sauce. The beans were good for Miss Mara's, nothing too special. Had a little bit of meat mixed in, and just a solid baked bean side. Now, the deviled eggs, they were great. Miss Mara's staff said the eggs were just recently added back to the cold box for Easter. We were there during spring break that week after Easter, and apparently with the price of eggs, these deviled eggs were removed from the menu. They were there for us when we visited, and boy, I'm glad they were. Like most of Alabama, the Birmingham Metro has plenty of options for barbecue, but if you're in Cahaba Heights, I definitely recommend a stop at Miss Mara's. They're serving wood smoked barbecue and signature sauces. They even have barbecue baked potatoes and sausage. One thing you won't find, brisket. I'm not sure how many places around the Birmingham and Alabama focus on brisket. Hadn't really caught on there like it has elsewhere. They've got it at Rusty's. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Miss Mara's is located at 3278 Cahaba Heights Road. You can find them online at missmaras.com. They're open daily, Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., closed on Sunday. Next time, I'll probably get the pulled pork and pulled chicken sandwiches. Next time, I'll also get a dessert. Miss Mara's is known for her pies, but I skipped dessert on this one very rare occasion. I was ready to get on to my destination. I did not skip dessert at my next barbecue stop, nor should you. But first, let me tell you about our big day in Birmingham. That this is really the part that was sponsored by the letter B. Everyone in Birmingham knows about the traffic. It's a mess in the morning and the afternoon, especially if you have to use US 280. Now, it's not as bad as Atlanta, but I've got a friend whose 20-minute morning commute into downtown turns into an hour-long pilgrimage on the afternoon return trip. You want to avoid that if you can. And we did. So we took a late breakfast and we took it to a popular new chain down US 280 in the Greystone area. It's called Big Bad Breakfast. Now, it's not barbecue per se, but since we're going with B words and the food was really good, let's keep it in here. And we'll give a quick glimpse into the Big Bad Breakfast chain's Birmingham location, which has actually been called the laboratory store or laboratory store. They did a lot of experimentation in the early days. I think it was probably the second location after they opened in New Orleans. Then they opened up in the Birmingham Greystone area, experiment with some things. And they did that in 2013. It was part of a partnership with Nick Pahakis. You may know that name. He's one of the original founders of Jim and Nick's Barbecue in Birmingham South Side. And now, just like Jim and Nick's, Big Bad Breakfast has become a pretty big chain with franchises all over the South, including one in Durham, Charleston, and Mount Pleasant. So if you're in those areas of the Carolinas, give Big Bad Breakfast a try. I'll tell you a little bit about what I got, and maybe you can get it there too. And if the food at the Birmingham US 280 location is any indication, there's a good reason that chain has spread. Food's really good, and the menu's out of the ordinary, not the typical things that you'd find on a breakfast place. So I ordered the mother of all biscuits served Dirty Bird style. So that's a crispy fried dill chicken breast, cheddar cheese, JC's hot sauce, bacon, and local honey, all on a buttermilk biscuit. It was absolutely a full meal and a great choice for my breakfast. The boys, not chicken tenders. They got pancakes and a Belgian waffle. That completed the meal and really filled up our bellies for the next B stop. Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum. That's Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum. If you haven't been to this art museum for motorcycles and race cars, I highly recommend it. I'm not a gearhead. I was completely awestruck by this place anyway. First, Barber Motorsports holds a Guinness record for the world's largest motorcycle collection with more than 1,800 bikes from more than 200 manufacturers. And they're all packed into a beautiful building that reminds you of those old Hot Wheels car displays from childhood. You know, the displays where you got them stacked up and everywhere. Quite literally, there are some motorcycles displayed in a big tower, like a vending machine that some of the car dealers have now on both sides of the elevator. Some of them are on Lazy Susan, stacked 3 stories tall. There's dozens of racing fabricated dirt track motorcycles moving through the middle of one of the floors. And really, Barber Motorsports also has the largest collection of Lotus cars, some of them suspended over the ground. Really, the spectacle is almost unreal to believe. Check out the Instagram post, and I'll share some pictures of it over there. It's 4 stories of machines displayed artistically for all the world to enjoy. In fact, the founder, George Barber, he came from the Barber's Milk Company, a big dairy operation in Alabama. Well, he built the museum and adjacent racetrack after he was inspired by a trip to the Guggenheim in Bilbao, Spain. He already had a collection in downtown, but he decided he needed something better. He wanted to create something just as beautiful to hold a collection of cars and motorcycles. That collection he started all the way back in the 1960s. And actually, some of those machines were part of the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at the Guggenheim Museum in New York. That exhibit drew the largest crowds in the history of the museum. So you know he had something that people wanted to see. He wanted to put them in a place that was fitting of his collection, and he built the museum there, the Barber Motorsports Vintage Automobile location. Again, most of those machines are on display. You can get up close and personal. You just can't touch them. I mentioned the racetrack. That's right outside the museum. It's a 16-turn, 2.38-mile track. And the Porsche Track Experience actually operates there. It's a really cool thing to see. While we were there are a dozen or so cars motoring around the circuit as fast as they could go. And that circuit's accessible in a lot of different places around the track. And really, the track and the museum itself are all part of what's kind of a beautiful outdoor garden. It welcomes visitors and offers a lot of different track views, including a bridge and a big overlook. And now I know a lot of people around Carolinas are familiar with Alabama racing and know it as Talladega. But let me tell you, Barber Motorsports Park should be on your radar too. There's actually going to be an IndyCar race, the Children's of Alabama Hospital race on May 3rd. That'd be a great time to visit if you're a racing fan. If you're not a racing fan, you don't want to get up in the crowds, go to the facility during the middle of the week for a quiet walk through all these beautiful vintage motorsports and the motorcycles of all shapes and sizes. Really some incredible stuff. You can get some pictures and see them for yourself. Just go to barbermuseum.org. And if you go to Barber Motorsports Park, be sure to plan a stop at Rusty's Barbecue. It's about 5 miles away. It's 10 to 12 minutes of drive time down US 78. Heck, if you go to Talladega, Rusty's is a short drive away too, about 40 minutes. It's just between Birmingham and Talladega, exit 140 off I-20. They drive past the Buc-ee's and Leeds. Yeah, ignore their brisket sandwiches and keep on going till you get to Rusty's. I've been to Rusty's before. I think I probably talked about it on here a little bit in the past. And I'm hoping to get Rusty Tucker on the podcast soon. And he's starting to get some real national attention outside Alabama. He even was present at this year's Charleston Wine and Food Festival back in March. So he's on everybody's radar. You guys should check him out too. For me, this year's trip was just as good as the last. Rusty's has a big menu with all the barbecue favorites, including brisket. And it can kind of be overwhelming when you walk in there and look up at the big board. Take your time before ordering at the counter. You can get a plate or meat a la carte. Do not skip the sides. Do not skip the dessert. And for your information, they also have self-serve soda and, again, Red Diamond iced tea. That's something you want to find at an Alabama barbecue joint. On to the orders. My kids, surprise, surprise, chicken tenders. My order, slightly different. I got the pork barbecue sandwich, 3 ribs, and black-eyed peas. The pork barbecue is tender and moist, lightly sauced with the house sauce. The ribs were naked. And they were tender too. Easy pull off the bone, but they were not mush. When you pulled it off the bone, it came off clean. Just a really good bite there on those ribs. And because they came naked, I was able to try all of Rusty's sauces. He's got 4 varieties, and they're all on each table: house, spicy, sweet, and white. My favorite for the ribs were the house and the spicy. I think they got the house on the barbecue sandwich. And I tried each of that on the ribs, and they were good. Tried the white sauce too. It'd probably be better on chicken, but it was okay on the ribs. The ribs and the pork barbecue itself were both good enough to stand alone. And onto the sides, let me just say I absolutely love Rusty's black-eyed peas. And if I get Rusty on the podcast, I'm going to beg for his recipe. Y'all email him, call him, visit him on Instagram, say, show me the peas. They're good peas with a nice peppery flavor, unlike anything I've really had before. So do not skip that side. And like I said, do not skip the dessert. I went with a slice of coconut cream pie. I shared it with the boys, but really, I feel like I could eat a whole pie. It's so good. Rusty's banana pudding is really good too, and I enjoyed it on a previous visit. But today, on this trip, it was the coconut cream pie. Whoo, boy, that stuff is fire. You can find Rusty's at 7484 Parkway Drive in Leeds. He's open Monday through Saturday, 10 until 8:30. On Friday and Saturday, he stays a little bit later, open 10 to 9:30. They're closed on Sunday. Then after you leave Rusty, you can stop at the Buc-ee's if you want to. Again, the Leeds location is almost like anything else you'll find in any of the other Buc-ee's locations, just like all the other ones that you'll find in the South, with one exception. There's a great flavored soft drink called Grapey-Co that's been bottled by Buffalo Rock in Birmingham since 1916. You can only find it, as near as I can tell, in the great state of Alabama. So you can get it at any grocery store or convenience store like Buc-ee's. You just won't find it at a Buc-ee's outside Alabama. Another must-have for this chigger from Buc-ee's, cherry sours. Little red balls of sugar, perfect for a road trip, especially if you got a long one to go. And it's 420 or so miles between Birmingham and Hickory. So perfect for some cherry showers. If you decide to visit Alabama and you're looking for good barbecue outside my suggestions, check out the Alabama Barbecue Chase. They've got a nice map of all the best barbecue places you'll want to hit on your travels. One of those places I missed but will want to go back to is Dreamland. Supposedly the oldest barbecue restaurant in the state of Alabama, maybe the nation. He and the folks down east of North Carolina may have a little bit of arguing there, but they've really breathed some new life into the Dreamland in Irondale, and can't wait to get back and try it out again on my next road trip. But for this road trip, we're going to wrap it up. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, and if you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. You can share our podcast with your friends or visit us online at lowslowbbqshow.com. That's where you'll find our subscription to the newsletter, The Lowdown. We'll send it to you for free on Tuesdays. Also, don't forget, we've got a YouTube channel. We've got video from the Carolina Barbecue Festival, and interviews with some of our pit masters are all there live, and all of our other podcasts are there as well. Thanks to our production team at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Hey, thank you, Andrew Moose, for making sure we sound good every week. A special thanks to all our listeners and followers in the world. Your engagement, involvement with us on the podcast and social media really fuel the fire to continue spreading the gospel about the best barbecue in the Carolinas and beyond. So thank you for listening and following. And remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.